So my name is Gabriel Sandoval. I'm a sophomore at Los Gatos High School, and I came up for the idea for the app, the Filos Project. And I originally came up with the idea while writing an essay about To Kill a Mockingbird in my 9th grade honors English class. The prompt, I think, was comparing how different people were stereotyped and how they were all common. And it came to me that they all had these stereotypes about them just because no one actually knew the truth and their actual story. So people heard these stereotypes and kept passing them on from one person to the next, and they never actually got to sit down with the person and talk to them and find out their actual story.
Prejudice is a force that lies at the very core of the way people make decisions and the way they perceive the world and the way they even choose to socialize with people.
Prejudice has a natural tendency to not only divide people, but to surround people with those that are like them. This becomes an issue because it actually causes prejudice to perpetrate itself by creating a kind of echo chamber that allows stereotypes to take hold and creating a lack of exposure to those that would debunk those stereotypes.
Well, so many people have the same burden of facing prejudice, which could theoretically be something that bonds them together. The very nature of that prejudice keeps them divided.
In high school today, people are surrounded by their own cliques, their own groups of friends, the people that are very similar to them. And they don't often get the chance to talk to people that aren't so similar and that have different backgrounds.
Well, there's a big push in education, in particular at Los Gatos High School, for social emotional learning in the classroom. We want to make education better by talking about the social emotional learning part. We've noticed as teachers that if you invest time and energy into the social emotional learning part and the relationships, not just with teacher and student, but students among students, they actually learn and absorb a lot more.
Educators have done such an amazing job at educating people on these issues and getting them to understand the forces that are at play, the dangers of prejudice, what it causes people to do, and how it causes people to act in different ways. But there's another level there that is missing. You need more than just the content of learning about different stories and stuff. It needs a personal level, and that's really where the Filos Project comes in. The Filos approach is different because of its emphasis on personal connection. We're taking technology that's already widely accessible in so many places and using that to connect people in new, meaningful, and exciting ways. When people get to know one another, suddenly breaking down those social barriers that once held them apart suddenly becomes a lot easier. The Filos Project is combating stereotypes through the most organic means possible. Open discussion. You can't manufacture a cure to prejudice, but you can facilitate opportunities for people to see through it and break it down, and that's what we're doing. The Filos Project is all about creating personal connections. That is really the goal of what the project stands for. And not just personal connections with anybody, but personal connections with people that come from different backgrounds, that have not experienced the same things in their lives, and that they have very different perspectives. Perspectives that ordinarily people would never get a chance to hear. What we're doing is based on the belief that by people really getting to know each other on a personal level, but not only to be able to see through their differences, or perhaps even see through the prejudice and stereotypes that might otherwise keep them apart. The process students participating in the program go through is broken into a couple of phases.
Phase 1 is all about connecting two different people.
It's all about taking two people who have not only never spoken to each other, but are actually very different people with very different backgrounds, and getting them to discuss the things that matter to them. This phase is facilitated through the integrated discussion environment that's built into the app. What that provides is the flexibility students need to have in-depth conversations while also providing suggested questions and a structure that is conducive to a productive discussion. We're pairing people in ways that allow them to have conversations that aren't inhibited by the impressions that appearances create. The anonymity of technology, which is something that is almost always characterized as being extremely negative, is being turned into a positive opportunity in a truly unique way. Phase 2 is special because it's what creates a lasting impact on everyone who partakes in the program. It is in this phase that students come face to face with the person that they've been communicating with through phase 1. What makes Phase 2 so powerful is it challenges students to take the image they have formed in their heads of this person they've been conversing with and hold it up against who that person really is. What students so often discover is it's not often what they expect. When students are shocked by the inaccuracies of their first impressions and their assumptions, it forces them to reconsider their perspectives, and that's what breaks down the social barriers and prejudices that could prevent them from forming lasting relationships in the future. Breaking down those social barriers and prejudices is what the Filos Project is all about.
So I initially expected Filos to honestly not be that constructive, but because I didn't really think like just talking to a person, how can that actually help? But after actually talking to a person and kind of seeing how those topics can lead to the sort of conversation that it did, I realized how helpful Filos can actually be in kind of understanding how other people's situations are.
The app was pretty well constructed. I was pretty surprised at how much has already been developed and how structured it is already.
The app was great, the tech was great, and the idea is also great. The execution was, in my experience, pretty flawless. I didn't encounter any problems with it.
So from a teacher standpoint, I think this is really powerful as well, because it models the types of conversations that we think kids should have with each other. There's a lot of questions that we have in the classroom, and students don't always answer the same way when they are in a big group. Either the shy ones are afraid to speak up, or sometimes students say what they think others want to hear. And a lot of it is based on fear, and we want this app to provide them the opportunity to be really honest about what they think and to talk to each other honestly and in an open manner. I think this app, hopefully, if teachers start to customize questions for their course material, will kind of really round out their education by giving them a more diverse discussion group and a discussion base.
The thing that is so exciting about the Filos Project is the sheer number of possibilities for topics that the platform could be adapted for. What makes the platform unique is its ability to facilitate conversations that otherwise would not be had. And that has so many applications, whether it's English classes, foreign language classes, science classes, or even beyond the classroom entirely. We can't wait to see where it goes.